party. We celebrate you today and all your contributions to this field, for your fearlessness, your willingness to speak truth to power, your leadership, your sense of humor most of all, and your example you show by really walking your talk and inspiring others through so many years of great work. I'm excited that we can keep you involved through the Sage Fund, and hope you have a wonderful day today and a great celebration.
Hello, Tricia. I remember our first meeting very vividly. It was one of the first ever Business and Human Rights conferences at Exeter University, organised by Michael Addo. You were sharing a platform with the great Sir Geoffrey Chandler, and he was sharing a platform with the great Tricia Feeney, and you held your own. And I've enjoyed working with you since then so much. There's never any doubting with you whose side you're on. And you don't suffer fools lightly, as that withering look of yours often reveals. And you're never afraid to take on the powerful, litigious companies such as Barrick Gold, that have intimidated so many individuals and organisations into silence. It's been wonderful working with you over the years, Tricia. I thank you so much for the privilege, and I wish you well for the future and hope that our paths will cross. All the best.
Hi, this is Juana from Connects in Brazil. I was trying to remember from where I know Tricia, and something very deep and very like in the heart comes, and I didn't remember when was it. And it's because Tricia went with Amnesty International in '76 to Argentina. Was one of the first reports denouncing what was happening there. And since then, and when I met her many years after, I had the connections thinking like, you help us end up the dictatorship in Argentina. And I think the first time I saw her was in the first forum on business and human rights. We were one of the very few NGOs that were there, looking at each other saying, what the hell are we doing here? Should we be here or not? And she helped us to design a strategy for the second forum. And I think I went back to her. Always I needed common sense to discuss issues on business and human rights. And I just think that she went to Argentina when she was 25 years old. So common sense and courageous would be the best way to describe her. Bye, Tricia.
Hi Tricia, it's Dom Renfrey here at CCR in New York. I'm sorry I can't be with you tonight. You've been such a towering figure in the field for so long and a mentor for so many people. I have the privilege to consider you to be a mentor to me for so long, and I've always been really grateful for your really wise counsel and your strategic insight and your support. You've also been you're an incredible testament to persistence in this field, and there's a long legacy of things in almost all regions of the world that have your fingerprints on them, and that's a great testament to all the support you've provided to so many different human rights struggles around the world, fighting corporations and all sorts of injustice everywhere. So you'll be heavily missed. It's almost hard to imagine you not being around, but perhaps we will see you around a little bit. Of all the characteristics that you have brought to the work for so many years, above all, what remains in my mind so strongly is your sharp sense of humor. I'm reminded, as I think of this, of you giving an interview to Juana Cueto at the second UN Forum and comparing the rules of conduct that OACHR put out for that forum to behaving at the Supreme People's Assembly of North Korea. I think that's probably one of my most memorable moments in my career ever. So thanks for contributing to us in so many ways, and have a great night tonight. I wish you all the well, and I'll see you around sometime. Thanks.
Hi Tricia, it's Rachel. I just wanted to say good luck and thank you so much for everything over the years. I remember the first time that we met. It was at a business and human rights conference in Edinburgh, and I know that I had heard your name so much before then that I was a bit starstruck when I actually got to speak to you. It was probably pretty weird. But since then we've had the chance to worked together on a few different things, and certainly the work isn't all done, but you can look back and say that you've really pushed things along. You've taught me and so many people in the sector so much, and we're really grateful for that. So thank you. I know that, even if you aren't at all of these meetings, there's going to be a lot of people there thinking to themselves, what would Tricia say and what would Tricia do? And you'll continue to have influence in that way. Anyway, I hope you have a great time in your retirement. I'm just about to get off work for a while as well. So if you're getting business and human rights, corporate accountability withdrawal and got a bit of time on your hands, get in touch. Good luck, Tricia, and thank you.
Hey Tricia, this is Michael Kavanagh from Bloomberg. I'm recording this in a hotel in Uganda where I'm chasing down Congolese corruption. I feel like you would be proud. I can't tell you how many times in the past 7 years I've walked into the offices of government officials or investigators, and before I leave they say, you should really meet Tricia Feeney. And I've realized how I am very literally following in your footsteps, and I'm grateful for how you've made my work easier because of the work that you've done. So I hope you stay involved. I know that you will. Your work has been so important to us and an inspiration, whether you knew it or not. So best of luck.
Hey Tricia, I hope this time it works. I've been trying to do this video a couple of times. I'm technologically challenged person, but yeah, just want to say, lots of thanks, big thanks for all your contributions, for your great work with us, your solidarity and perseverance. You have been a beacon for many of us, for all of our efforts in the human rights area at large, but also especially on business and human rights, corporate accountability, as I like to call it. So we'll miss you, but I know as well that you will continue working with us and others in the next few years. You will not be completely gone for retirement, or you will have a different kind of retirement. Thanks again. I hope to see you again. Big hug, lots of kisses. Tricia, espero verte muy pronto en Ginebra, en Perú, en otras partes del mundo. Así que tenemos mucho trabajo para ti. Te damos 3 meses para que descanses en una playa simpática y todo eso, pero después, mucho trabajo. Hasta la próxima.
Hi, my name is Bruce Johnston. I'm a lawyer in Montreal. I met Tricia on a plane going to Nairobi in 2010. Tricia was to serve as our guide. My partner Philip and I, first time in Africa. We're going to the DRC to see whether we could meet witnesses, collect evidence, meet victims of the massive human rights violations committed by the armed forces of the DRC with the involvement of the mining company Anvil Mining. That was an absolutely incredible trip. Tricia was relentless, fearless, and dedicated. And if I can share one memory I have of that trip is once we made it to Kilwa, which was not easy in and of itself, because the mining company controlled the only landing site. So we had to, Tricia had to hire a driver and a truck, and we drove over very bad roads for a very long distance. We then visited the mine, and we drove right up to the mining site, asked to be admitted, and to our surprise we were admitted, and they actually served us lunch. And we didn't lie, but we were very amused at having lunch served to us by at the site of the mine, which we were planning to sue. Good luck, Tricia. Thank you for your efforts, and it's not over yet, I hope.
Hi, Tricia. You remember the background hotel? That's Godland Hotel.
Remember the good times you had there, Tricia? Not. And how about this place? Do you remember this place?
Do you remember this one? This is Nyamete.
This is our famous Niamete Hotel. Hopefully you'll remember this.
And now we are heading to a small part where
You
you
will remember very well.
will do all the interviews here. Oh, here we are.
Do you remember this place, Tricia? With the Coca-Cola chairs? So we are here again, Tricia, at the Niamete Hotel, Tarime in Tanzania. And we're sure you remember all of this very well because you and I and Carolyn spent 3 years here in this small place interviewing victims of the North Mara gold mine. Oh, what's that? Okay, we just had a glitch, but we're carrying on. We interviewed the victims of the North Mara gold mine here, and of course you were with us, and we were very glad to have you with us, and we missed you very much this year.
Hi Tricia, I miss you so much and I love you too much more. But I just want to tell you some few words. You have been a good person, a good woman. I've learned a lot from you. And I wish we could have more years to work together. But I believe we'll keep in touch.
Yeah, we really miss you, Tricia. We're always telling stories about past years and how much you lightened our mood with your sense of humor, which was so welcome because of how tough it was here. And of course, it's not just here that we've worked together. We've worked together for many years before starting this project, particularly trying to hold Canadian mining companies to account in places like Papua New Guinea and Mongolia. And you were a great source of support and help for Mining Watch and for me when we used the National Contact Point as a mechanism. And of course, discovered how atrocious our Canadian National Contact Point really is. And so then we were also trying to hold the National Contact Point to account. I've learned so much from you. I so much appreciated that you were with us in the first years here when we were being chased around the place by dubious immigration officials and had other, tricky and difficult things happen, and heard a lot of really gruesome stories that we were able to support each other. And we both wish you the very, very best. We don't think you're really retiring. We know that you'll be doing great work for many years to come, and we hope that our paths will continue to cross. We love you, Tricia.
Love you.
Bye.
Thank you, Tricia Feeney. I'm so grateful for your commitment and clarity and generosity. At this point, you've trained up at least 3 ESCRNet program coordinators, as well as founding the Corporate Accountability Working Group and providing leadership over many years. I'm also aware that you've really trained up a generation of activists committed to human rights, as well as for playing a very, very important role in raising issues of corporate accountability at the international level, as well as working in close partnership with affected communities around the world, communities mobilizing for and demanding their human rights. Thank you for your example to me. I'm so grateful for all I've learned from you, and I really hope that you have an amazing celebration tonight, and that you enjoy the next steps ahead. Thank you.
Dearest Tricia, any chance to reflect on the wonderfulness of you is a gift. And this is a truly special occasion for all of us, as we celebrate not so much your retirement, but your ascension to emeritus status. As a global human rights expert, colleague, supporter, and mentor to many, as a perennial and necessary skeptic about the field of business and human rights, always pulling the focus back in principle and crafty practice to the human rights side of that equation, which is much needed. As a tireless advocate for remedy for victims and forgotten communities, even when, or especially when, the journey is impossibly long and the odds are low. And as a dear friend and most valued colleague who brings sharp analysis, critical insight, enormous generosity and patience, and the most fantastic sense of humor and willingness no matter how difficult the work or how frustrating the forum, to convene for a well-placed gin and tonic. We, Leslie, Tom, and I, plan to share many more G&Ts with you, Tricia. All my love and very best wishes.
Hi Tricia, this is Joseph from SOMO and OECD Watch. You know that, but maybe some of your guests don't know that. I'm sorry I can't be with you today. I'm here in the US for another couple of months and then heading back to Europe. But I did not want to miss out on the opportunity to make this little message for you and to say a few words about our time together and what you've meant for me and for all of us over the years. So I'm very glad that this video was possible. We go back, Tricia, you and I, to 2004, 13 years. I started working for SOMO and OECD Watch right after you had co-founded the OECD Watch network just a few months before that. And so we got a lot of time to spend together, and I developed definitely some nice memories over the years, as I'm sure you did as well. I wanted to just sort of American roast style kind of mention a few of the things that I remembered over the years of working with you that always continue to make me smile when I think about you. So it may have already been said before, it wouldn't surprise me, but the famous Tricia eye rolling is definitely one of my favorite memories. Whenever we were in a meeting, big, and we spent a lot of time together in those OECD meetings with the NCPs, and you can always count on Tricia to, whenever anybody in the room says something dumb, like self-regulation works, you could count on Tricia. You could, wherever she was in the room, you could sort of make a beeline for her eyes, and you could see the eye rolling, going like this. And it wasn't just, a one-time off thing. It was basically every comment that came out that was dumb or stupid or self-regulation, blah, blah, blah. You could look over at Tricia, and there were the eyes going again. It was always a way to make it through those incredibly dull and frustrating OECD meetings. Another thing too that I definitely remember, and I'm sure many of the guests there will share as well, is how articulate you were in taking down NCPs when they said things like that, or OECD, to really just be able to undo an NCP right in the meeting when they had said something ridiculous, and the humor that you brought to it as well was always very refreshing for me, and I think for a lot of people around. One of my favorites is when in one of the OECD NCP meetings with all the country, 40 countries with their little name boards around the room, and we're talking about the NCPs. And you proposed, the U.S. had just introduced this Cash for Clunkers program for cars, where you could trade in your old car and get a little bit of cash towards a new car for it. And you proposed that the OECD institute a Cash for Clunkers program for NCPs, where old, useless, non-working, broken down NCPs could be traded in for a few bucks to work towards a new NCP. That was always a good. You could always count on Tricia to bring in a little bit of good old dry British humor into those meetings. And of course, you had high standards, not just for the NCPs or for companies, of course, but also for NGOs and towards ourselves. And I think it's no small honor to let you know, and you probably don't know this, but no small honor to let you know that you are responsible for the nickname that Joris and I still call each other to this day, came from you. I think at some point, maybe 10 or 12 years ago, we had heard from someone that you had called some of the work that he and I did sloppy, some report or something that we had written was sloppy, and it probably was. And so fair criticism there. And so from that day on, Joris and I have called each other Sloppy Joe and Sloppy Yo, and we continue to do that. So thank you for that. We were always very happy to give nicknames to other people, so our own nickname, which came from you, was of course very important for us. But I rounded off for now. I'm way over my time limit anyway. But I just wanted to end by saying thank you to you. And you've had an enormous impact on the worlds that we operate in, and on the lives of so many people around the world whose causes you've taken up and tirelessly fought for over the years. You're leaving a large and important legacy behind you. The OECD Watch Network just being one very small memento of that, going forward. A network that you co-founded now with over 100 members around the world, and some of the policy changes and the real remedy outcomes that you've been able to achieve for people in the field says a lot about all that you've been able to do. So thank you again on behalf of OECD Watch and behalf of SOMO, and personally from myself. And I know we'll continue to be in touch. Bye-bye.